Well, though the Bishop Grady Lane, y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is actually poised to give the Global Goalkeeper Award to Indian President Narendra Modi on September 24th in New York City. Now, human rights groups are calling for the Gates Foundation to actually rescind this award due to somebody who is looking like a human rights abuser out here. I mean, keep in mind that he was actually once banned from the United States for back in 2002 when he was the governor of Gujarat, India, and allowed for a massacre to take place against Muslims. And currently, this Hindu dude actually revoked the limited autonomy of the Indian administered Kashmir region, basically. So, and Kashmir is a region that has a bunch of Muslims or whatever, and this allowed for thousands of people to be arrested, roadblocks to be set up, curfews put in place, internet and other communications being cut off. So it's just looking real contradictory. The award is for his public hygiene and public sanitation and hygiene policies that brought toilets to the millions across India. Greenwald graduate. New World Order, Bishop Grady Lane. Y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Sign my petition. Yo, get Donald Trump on Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Now, shout out to all the lawmakers in California and the Governor Gavin Newsom. They seem to be on the right side of history lately. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least from my perspective, because like even in this scenario, they delivered a major blow to the private prison industry, the for-profit prison industry, where they banned, the lawmakers actually banned for-profit prisons statewide. So that's huge. First state that we know of to do that. And at the end of the day, this is actually what the legislation also calls for is the shutdown of 4 ICE detention centers. ICE being Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So 4 ICE jails that can hold up to 4,500 immigrants. So they're shutting those down as well. So this is definitely a step in the right direction, because the idea of for-profit prisons is just morally illogical. Like, let's keep it real. Greenwald graduate. New World Order, Bishop Grady Lane. Y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Now, I told y'all about how Cali lawmakers seem to be on the right side of the history. And I think they might be on the right side of history with this one as well. They actually approved legislation. I told some of y'all about this already, but they approved of legislation that actually will be effective on January 1st. That basically says that anybody who's working for a company and they're part of the main company's business and they take direction from the company's managers have to be classified as employees instead of contractors, which is something that the gig economy has taken part of. You have apps like Uber and Lyft that have basically been classifying their drivers as contractors and getting around having to pay them like any minimum salary or whatnot. So that's what's going down. Gavin Newsom, the governor, he said he promised to sign it, but you have people in Uber and Lyft that's basically saying we're not going to reclassify our drivers as employees. Fuck out of here. Greenwald graduation. We'll see what we'll go to Bishop Grady Lane. Y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Sign my petition, yo. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Not only is he stupid, but the stuff that he puts out there, him or whoever's managing that account, because I don't think it's always him, continue to put us, people abroad, our U.S. troops, in danger. You can find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Instagram currently shut down right now, but check this out though. And Donald Trump, remember that tweet storm that he did some time ago that actually was aimed at the House Oversight Chair Elijah Cummings, who's actually a representative for the Baltimore City. He basically called Baltimore like a rat and rodent infested place and that no human being would ever want to live there. The motherfucker has the nerve to actually go to Baltimore, had to travel in there to actually go to this Republican retreat. Now, he was met with obviously a lot of protests. There was actually some big inflatable rat with a Trump face and blonde hair on it or whatever, holding a cell phone out there as well. So like the people out there definitely is not feeling him, man. Holmes got to get his school boots, man. Greenwald graduate. Grady, man, editor-in-chief for Black Fox News. This is an editor's note. Now I said this a long time ago, you feel? Like back when the NWA actually had the Straight Outta Compton movie coming out. I was like, yo, how we gonna have that movie about niggas with attitude, but we're not gonna have a movie about Public Enemy. Now, what's happened since then, that was years ago, but what's happening now is Vlad TV, they're actually interviewing Flavor Flav and getting the scoop on a lot of this shit. But I gotta be honest, I don't want to hear that shit through Vlad TV. You know what I'm saying? Like that story. I don't even only want to hear it from Flavor Flav, even though Flavor Flav is the shit in a lot of different arenas or whatever. At the same time, that deserves a package story. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of facets to that, and they were around essentially for the birth of hip hop. So, yo, I'm calling on my Morehouse brother, Spike Lee. Spike Lee, listen up, man. You know those your people. Yo. Fight the power. You know how this shit go. Do a movie on them. ASAP, man. Get it together. Green War and Order of the New World Order, Bishop Grady Lane. Y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Sign my petition, yo. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrad716. Actually, that's disabled right now, but definitely check the video description because you're most likely watching this on YouTube now. Last night at Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas, they actually had the third Democratic presidential debates for the election of 2020. Now, this was the first time that the top 10 candidates, and last remaining 10 candidates, actually got on the stage and debated. First time that Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden were on the stage together. So, you know, as you can imagine, there was some fireworks. Everybody at one point was ganging up on Bernie Sanders, his Medicare for All plan. But, you know, the typical debate shit, you know what I mean? Everybody should look it up. I can say personally, this is the first time that I've really seen debates where everybody's intelligent, kind of. You know what I'm saying? I respect people's intelligence. Normally people be sounding like shitheads. I had to go for the Democratic debates in general. Shout out to Jay Anstey. Green War and Graduation. Bishop Grady Lane, y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Sign my petition, yo. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. I'm gonna change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrad716, which is shut down right now. We're coming back with it. You know, Black Fox News and all that. They try to shut that down. They hating on us, but you can definitely find a link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, which is most likely now. Yesterday, before they actually had the debates taking place in Houston, Texas, there were a lot of Greenpeace activists that actually rallied around the Fred Hartman Bridge, hoping to get the attention of the debaters to actually side with the Green New Deal. And they like rappelled off the bridge, had all of this shit hanging from it. Now the bridge goes over what is the largest export channel for oil export channel in the United States. You know, one of the activists actually had live streamed it, saying that, you know, Exxon, BP, Shell, like they all use this channel or whatever, and they were blocking it. The shit that was hanging off actually halted oil traffic. Police arrested 15 of them. Basically saying they're going to face some charges for blocking, like, you know, these travelways. Green War Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady Lane. Y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. So, the United Nations is actually warning that in East Africa and Somalia, there are 2.2 million people at risk of severe hunger and starvation due to the extreme drought that they're actually experiencing, which has caused crops to yield like 70% less than it typically would at this time, withering crops away. And that, you know, these unreliable weather patterns and climatic shocks, as they described it, coupled with the extreme poverty over there, is going to trap millions of people in that area to just being subject to starvation, severe starvation and malnutrition. Now, keep this in mind as I tell y'all that the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center actually released a report saying that worldwide, 7 million people were actually displaced in the first half of this year due to extreme weather patterns. An example of that would be like what's happening in the Bahamas, people having to leave there. So it's actually becoming a norm, as they're saying. Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. So over in, well, this has to do with northern Alaska and the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. The United States House of Representatives actually passed a bill that essentially blocks the Trump administration from opening that area up to oil and gas drilling. Now, this of course had the support of Native Alaskans who actually use that area and actually have to migrate the caribou herds for their subsistence. But this also is, and you know, you had the Gwich'in Steering Committee that says, you know, they're one with the caribou and all of that, whatever. They actually had traveled to Washington, D.C. to actually lobby for this bill to be passed. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't look like it's going to, the accompanying bill in Senate doesn't look like it's going to pass a Republican majority Senate. And keep in mind that they are now trying to lease 1.5 million acres of this land, opening it up for oil and gas drilling, landing pads, 175 miles of road, pipeline assistance, deep water, sea treatment, and all of that shit. So they're gonna fuck it up. Greenville and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So in New York City, actually, so I told y'all about how Greta Thunberg, this is like a teenage climate activist who's like who's very popular on the activist scene, who basically would skip class every Friday. I might not have told y'all this part, but she would skip class every Friday and go protest outside the Swedish Parliament demanding climate change. And she has definitely a name for herself. And recently, she actually sailed across the Atlantic on a zero emissions trip. So she sailed instead of taking a plane and all of that, whatever, to New York City, and has been like protesting every Friday in New York City, and all ahead of the global climate strike that's supposed to take place on September 20th, days before the global climate summit actually takes place at the United Nations headquarters. Now, she's inspired people so much that public school administrators are now saying that with the parent or guardian permission slip, all students won't be marked as absent if they want to take part in the protest. Keep this in mind, as also the head of Amnesty International, Kumi Naidu, actually sent 30,000 letters out to schools across the world, asking for them to let their students partake in the global climate strike. Greenville and Graduation. Go to Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Sign my petition, get Donald Trump off Twitter. You'll find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, or you can actually find it in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, which is most likely since they suspended my Instagram account, but we coming back, you know what I'm saying? The Instagram, GradyGrant716, Black Fox News, we on the way back. But check this out though, the Trump administration has actually finalized this repeal of the Waters of the United States rule. This is a Obama-era policy that was put in place in 2015, as actually set to protect thousands of like streams of water that actually flow into large lakes and rivers. The announcement was made by Andrew Wheeler, who's the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA administrator, former coal lobbyist. Let's keep it real. Let's put all this in perspective. And he announced it to a thunderous applause, but he announced it at the National Association of Manufacturers headquarters in Washington, D.C. So, of course, they're going to support that. Environmentalists are saying that this is going to affect 60% of U.S. bodies of water, and which will in turn affect the drinking water for 100 million people. Greenville and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Now, there was a photo that was, got a little buzz on social media of Chris Payer and his family. Basically, these white people that basically killed this black rhinoceros in Namibia. They were standing over the rhino's corpse, smiling and all of that, right? Big rhino. Now, keep this in mind as I tell you that conservationist groups say that there's only about 5,500 rhinos left in the world. You know what I mean? Like this, they're an endangered species. So, but the Trump administration has apparently given Chris Payer permission to actually bring the remains of the rhino back into the country. So, it's definitely barbaric. We've seen photos of Donald Trump's sons actually holding up animal body parts. It seems like while I heard Trump actually denounce stuff like that, it also seems like policy-wise they're trying to allow for shit like that to take place and for animal remains to actually come back into the country. So Greenville and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Sign my petition, get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, which is disabled right now along with the Black Fox News IG account. But don't worry, we coming back. But you can actually find it in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Most likely you can do the Instagram situation. Now, House Judiciary Committee has voted to actually move forward with formal impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump. Now, the House Judiciary Committee's chair, Jerry Nadler, actually said, and I know he's been a pain in Donald Trump's ass or whatever, and definitely all them wicked ass Republicans and all of that, but he's actually said that this is going to go beyond the Robert Mueller report and the findings of that. It's like they're looking into election fraud, failure to protect the U.S. from current and future attacks from former adversaries, emoluments clauses, and just straight up crime in general or whatever. So the Democrats actually remain divided on whether to even call this expanded investigation an impeachment proceeding. But that's how it's going down. Greenwald and Graduation. Although the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Sign my petition, yo. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGram716. Or in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, which is most likely since they disabled the Grady Graham and Black Fox News accounts. They hating on the brother for, I guess, spreading that knowledge, but, you know, we're going to get to the bottom of that. But check this out, though. Mexico's foreign minister, Marcelo Ebrard, actually announced that, essentially decried that the Trump remain in Mexico asylum ban that had took place, that was actually ratified by the U.S. Supreme Court, or upheld by the Supreme Court. Ebrard is like, you know, that they're not going to change. Mexico's not going to change their position on foreign policy just because the U.S. says so. And you know, it was discussed with the Senate, and they're not for it either. Keep this in mind, that tens of thousands of people actually remain in Mexico due to this asylum ban. In the Tijuana, San Diego border alone, there's like 10,000 migrants waiting to get taken in by U.S. immigration, U.S. ICE. So, Greenwald and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Make sure you sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGram716, or in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, which is most likely since they tried to shut the whole operation down on Instagram. But don't worry, we coming back for y'all, yo. But check this out. Yesterday in Washington, D.C., there was a lot of protests, a lot of activism going on where they were actually protesting. Shout out to the Fair Immigration Reform Movement or whatever, but they were amongst the organizations and people out there that were actually protesting outside of the headquarters of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, for the Trump administration's anti-immigrant, anti-refugee policies. Now, also keep in mind that the activists then went over in March to the home of CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, now protesting basically against the mega online retailers' support of ICE via technology. I mean, they've been giving them, including like, you know, their facial recognition technology and the database that they've actually been using to track and apprehend immigrants. Greenwald and Graduation. Although the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. On the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, in Russia, they actually had a huge, massive police sweep that basically took place at 200 different sites across 40 cities. And this was designed, apparently the common thread was these are organizations that are in line with the politics of Alexei Navalny, who is an opposition leader, known opposition leader over there, a politician who was recently incarcerated on what was said to be trumped up charges and incarcerated for 30 days or whatever. But nevertheless, this keep this in mind, as I told y'all previously about how there were Moscow local elections that were taking place, and it led to pro-democracy protests, and it led to a mass arrest of like 2,000 people. But the Kremlin and you know, Vladimir Putin's group is actually saying that this is part of a criminal investigation into money laundering having to do with Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation. Another group that was actually raided was Golos, which is an independent election monitoring group. Greenwald and Graduation. New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the Instagram bio, GradyGram716, which is currently disabled right now. We coming back though, including Black Fox News that's also disabled. They trying to hate on us, but you can find the video, the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube though. Now check this out. In Iran, actually, now it might seem like sometimes I defend Iran because I think the United States foreign policy actions against Iran are sometimes like very provocative, but nevertheless they have some human rights issues as well, and this is an example of that. Sahar Kodayari, this is a woman, she actually died on September 8th, and the reason she died because back in March she actually disguised herself as a woman to attend a men's soccer game, and when it was discovered that she was a woman, she was actually arrested, spent 3 days in jail. When she found out that she was going to face 2 years in prison for that, she actually went outside of the courthouse in Tehran and lit herself on fire. She burnt up 90% of her body, and she actually succumbed to injuries back finally succumbed to the injuries back on September 8th. So, you know, it's real fucked up. And of course it's drawing widespread condemnations against Iran and against the Soccer Federation, the International Soccer Federation, FIFA, for not doing anything about Iran's terrible treatment towards females and female fans and athletes. Greenwald and Graduation.